Will ye love simplicity?
Yes, sir.
And the scorners delight in their scorning.
All right.
And fools hate not.
All right.
You may be seated.
All right. Preach, Reverend. Preach now. Preach now. Yes.
How long?
How long? How long?
Ye simple ones,
Yes, sir.
will ye love simplicity?
Yes, sir. All right. Go ahead, preacher.
And the scorners
Scorn.
delight in their scorning.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And fools
Food.
hate
All right.
not.
Now.
I want to talk today
Yes, sir.
about how not
How not? How not?
to raise a fool.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come on. Come on.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Yes, sir. Come on. How not?
I want you to say that after me.
Yes, sir.
How not
How not?
to raise a fool.
To raise. Preach now. Preach.
Now I need today your prayers
Yes, sir.
and your patience,
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Take your time. Take your time, preacher.
because today's message is a different kind of sermon.
Yes.
All right.
And I'm going to ask that you not grow weary in searching the scriptures with me.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, preacher. Go ahead.
You're going to pray with me on it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How not
How not? All right.
to raise
Raise.
a fool.
A fool. Come
Let's
on.
hear it. Let's hear it.
Yes, sir.
Throughout the book of Proverbs,
All right.
Yes, sir.
the word food
Yes, sir.
refers to a spiritually insensitive
Yes, sir.
clod
All right.
All right.
Come
All
on.
right.
Come on.
who lives for himself
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
apart from the wisdom and influence
Well now.
of God.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Come on, Doc. Come on, Doc.
The Bible aptly
Well,
describes the food.
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Says that the food
Come on. Come on.
has said in his heart,
All right.
Come on. Come on.
there is no God.
Nobody. Come on, preacher.
Now, no one
Come on, preacher.
is born a fool.
Come on.
All right.
Come on.
Now, when I said that at home, some of my members wanted to take issue
Come on, preacher. Come on, preacher.
with me by presenting Exhibit A.
Come on.
But no one is born a fool.
All right.
Go ahead, preacher.
Fools are self-made.
All right.
Come on. Come on.
All right. All right. Yes, sir.
With a great deal of help
Yes.
Come on.
from parents,
Come on.
All right. All right. All right.
and peers.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Come on, take your time now.
In Proverbs 22, the A part of verse 15,
Yes, sir.
the Bible says that foolishness
Yes, sir.
All right.
is bound
Yes.
in the heart of a child,
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Come on. Come on.
which is to say that when a person is a child, the seeds of foolishness
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
creeps
Come on. Come on.
into the heart of a child.
Yes, sir. Come on. Come on.
But now, don't leave that verse until you read the B part.
Come on.
Right.
The rod of correction
Yes, sir.
drives it away.
Come on. Come on, preacher.
Say it, Doctor.
Now, when the Bible speaks about a fool,
Well.
it is not referring to the mentally deficient.
Come on.
Tell us.
Come on, preacher.
Let's see.
A retarded person is not a fool.
All right.
Come
All
on.
right.
Come on, Doc.
In fact, the Bible speaks sweetly and gently
Uh-huh.
about those who are mentally and physically
Yes, sir.
handicapped.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead now.
It teaches us to love and nourish them.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Come on, preacher.
Are you with me here?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Doc. Go ahead now.
But when the Bible talks about the fool,
Well, now.
Well.
it is referring to those who are morally
Yes, sir.
and spiritually
Yes.
deficient.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
So the problem is not a head problem,
Come on. Come on.
Nice.
it's a heart problem.
Yeah.
Work it out. Work it out.
The fool is a fool by choice.
Come on, preacher. Come on.
Now what we see today in our text in Proverbs 1 and verse 22, there are three recognizable steps
Yes, sir.
All right.
that provides for us the formula for the making of a fool.
Yes,
Yes,
sir. Come
sir.
on. Come on.
Nice.
Go ahead.
Number one, it says,
All right.
how long ye simple one
Yes. Come on. Come on.
will ye love simplicity?
All right.
So the first step, he calls the simple one.
Yes. Come on.
And the second step, he says, and the scorner delight in their scorning.
Yes.
If a simple person remains simple, they move along to phase 2, and then the simple becomes a scorner.
Yes, sir. All right.
And if the simple becomes a scorner and he is not corrected, then the scorner becomes a full-fledged
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's what it says in the Bible. It says the fool hate none.
Yes, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes,
The
sir.
one is simple, the second is scorn, and then the third phase is that of a fool.
Yes,
All
go
right.
ahead, preacher.
So now that you see that, let me work on it.
Work on it, work on it.
Are you going to help me today?
Work on it, work on it. Work on it.
Now, the first thing that we want to look at is the ignorance of the simple.
Yes, sir, come on.
Yes, sir.
How long, ye simple one,
Well,
will ye love simplicity?
yes, sir, come on,
We
God.
want to look at the ignorance of the simple.
Yes, sir, go ahead,
All
preacher.
right.
Now understand, when the Bible says simple here, it is not talking about a simpleton.
Come on.
When the Bible talks about the ignorance of the simple,
Well,
it is referring to those who love a lifestyle of ease,
yes, sir. Go
All
ahead,
right.
Go ahead, God.
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead.
happiness, and carefree.
Yeah. Go ahead, God.
Those who delight in not having any responsibility.
Yeah.
Work on it, work on it, God.
Yeah.
Work on it.
Delight in not having any challenges
Yes, sir.
Work on it, God.
and no problem.
Yeah.
The simple one
Yeah.
has a goal of following the line of least resistance.
Yes, sir. Work on it. Work with it.
The simple one is not concerned about the depth. It's not concerned about the profundities of life.
Yes, sir. Come on.
The simple one is committed to a life that is surface,
Yeah, preacher.
shallow, and superficial.
Yeah.
Go ahead, God.
All right,
Go
man.
ahead.
Have I got a witness here?
Go ahead, preacher.
This word here, simple, is talking about being happy-go-lucky.
Uh-huh.
It's a word that means having an open mind.
Yes, sir.
All
Come on.
right.
Come on, preacher.
So the first thing we see about the simple one is that the simple one loves simplicity.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Go ahead, now.
You have heard of the Greek orator Demosthenes.
Yes, sir.
And Demosthenes one day was speaking to a large crowd. In fact, it was in an auditorium similar to this one.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, preacher.
And Demosthenes was talking to that large crowd about crucial matters concerning life, death, and eternity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But as he spoke, he discerned that the crowd was not paying attention.
Come on. Come on.
And so, right in the middle of his talk, he stopped and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to tell you a story.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, preacher.
One day, there was a man
Well.
who was carrying a heavy load of sticks on his back.
Well, now.
And he had to cross a mountain, although he was tired and weary.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, preacher.
And another man leading a donkey came alongside him
Yeah.
and said to the man carrying the sticks, "Why are you carrying such a heavy load?
Come on. Come on.
Why don't you rent my donkey and let the donkey carry the load over the mountain?"
Yes, sir.
Well.
And they, for a while, haggle over the price. They finally agreed, and the owner of the donkey and the renter of the donkey started out together over the mountain.
Yes, sir. All right.
And as they got about halfway, the sun got scorching hot.
Yeah.
And so the renter of the donkey decided to stop.
Yes, sir.
And tied up the donkey and decided to rest a while.
Yeah.
And so he walked around the donkey and sat down in the shade of the donkey.
Yeah.
And the owner of the donkey also sat down, but there was not enough shade for both men.
Yeah.
And so the owner of the donkey said, "Sir, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to move."
Come on.
And the man replied, "No, I'm not moving. You're going to have to move."
All right.
But the owner of the donkey said, "No, this is my donkey.
Come on, preacher. Come on.
Therefore, the shade belongs to me."
Well now.
But the renter of the donkey said, "No, I rented the donkey. Therefore, I rented the shade." And the owner of the donkey said, "No, I rented you the donkey, but I never rented you the shade." And so they got engrossed in a furious argument over who owned the shade of the donkey. Demosthenes described the argument to the vast crowd, and then he walked off the stage. And the crowd began to yell and clamor for him to return, and finally he did. And they began in one voice to ask Demosthenes, "What happened? Who won the argument? To whom did the shade of the donkey belong?" Demosthenes said to them, "I have been speaking to you concerning issues of life, death, and eternity, and you were not interested. But now you clamor to know who owns the shade of the donkey." That is a prime example of the simple-minded. The simple-minded is always concerned about the unimportant. The simple-minded has an affinity for the superficial. The simple-minded loves the perfunctory and the shallow.
Yes.
There are those who are more concerned about their next cigarette than they are concerned about the education of their children.
Watch it.
There are those who are more concerned about watching their favorite soap opera than they are concerned about the spiritual growth and development of their children. There are those who complain about sermons being too long, and yet they will sit in front of a television hour after hour watching the demons on Dallas and the destruction on Dynasty. Because they have an affinity for the shallow and superficial.
Go ahead, preacher. Preach.
You on it, baby.
Preach.
All right.
Stay with it.
All right.
Stay with it.
Now another earmark of simple.
Stay with it. Stay with it.
The simple in chapter 9, the same book.
Come on. Come on. Come on.
The simple lacks understanding.
Come on.
Yeah.
Chapter 9, verse 4.
Come on.
Whoso is simple, let him turn in hither. As for him that wanted understanding, she said to him.
All right. Come on now.
The simple lacks understanding.
Yes, sir.
Now don't misunderstand right here.
Come on.
To lack understanding does not necessarily mean to be unintelligent.
Come on.
Well,
Come on, preacher.
There are those who are very intelligent and very bright intellectually,
yeah.
but they lack moral and spiritual understanding.
Yeah.
When you are simple-minded, you do not have the wisdom of God, therefore you lack understanding. And then look at 14 and 15, same book.
Preach.
The simple are easily led. The simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going. Now this word simple, coming out of the Hebrew, literally means wide, it means open, it means deep.
Yes, sir.
And when you put it together, those who are simple-minded are, as it were, a wide open gate.
Yes.
It can also be translated as gullible.
Yes, sir.
People who are simple-minded are gullible.
Yeah.
And when you're gullible, you'll swallow anything.
Yes, sir.
That's why so many folk in our churches get led down the wrong path, joining cults and false religion. We are biblically illiterate, therefore we are simple-minded and gullible.
Yeah.
When a person is gullible, you can sell them the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yes, sir.
When they are gullible, they'll bet on any horse. A person who is gullible believes that he or she can live any kind of way without regard to consequences.
Go ahead.
You see, either you're going to believe what is right, or you will believe what is wrong.
Yeah.
If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Have I got a witness here? Because life abhors a vacuum. You'll either believe what is right, or you will believe what is wrong. Simple or easily led. This is why Madison Avenue is so effective.
All right.
Madison Avenue takes our people and just handle us like putty.
Tell us.
Because Madison Avenue will put out a certain line, causing us to believe anything they say. It's because we are simple-minded.
All right.
Yes, it's there now.
Now listen,
Well,
parents and grandparents.
now.
Without parents getting involved in the lives of their children,
Come on, preacher.
children will be simple.
Yes, sir. No doubt about it.
Children are easily led. Children love simplicity. And children come here without understanding about life. And unless parents get involved in the lives of their children, children are gullible and will be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Somebody ought to help me. And then another thing about the simple, they have poor judgment.
All right.
Look at 22 and 3.
Go ahead. Go ahead now. Stay with it, Judge.
Verse 3 says, a prudent man
Yeah.
foreseeth the evil
Yes.
All right.
and hideth himself. But the simple pass on and are punished. The simple-minded will have poor judgment.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Have I got a witness? Have you ever, this is why you have to tell children, don't get in a car with strangers.
Yeah. My.
Because children are simple and they have poor judgment.
Yeah.
They don't know how to foresee evil and hide themselves from the evil. This is why a young man can get in trouble over and over and over again and never learn anything from his lesson, because he is still simple-minded and he has poor judgment.
All right.
Now, a whole lot of parents, we are excusing ourselves from the responsibility of teaching our children.
Yes, sir. All right.
And you know what we say? Well, my mama and my daddy, they didn't teach me, and I came out all right. And we fail to realize that the world is 1,000 times worse than when you and I grew up. This is not the same world we grew up in. We had help from the extended family of grandmama and granddaddy, uncles and aunts. We had the support of a semi-righteous culture. The world is 100 times worse than it was when we grew up.
I know you're right.
Preach on.
Now, the worst thing in the world is to be simple and unsaved. It's bad enough to be simple, but to be simple and unsaved. See, when you're simple and unsaved, you'll reject the gospel. When you're simple and unsaved, you oppose God. When you're simple and unsaved, you have no sense of having to give an account for your life and deeds in the judgment.
Go ahead, preacher. Yes, sir. Go ahead, preacher. Go ahead. Stay with it.
So we must get involved when children are at the level of being simple. Well, now come on back to chapter 1.
Come on.
And we want to look at the second thing, the second step.
Come on.
All right.
First talks about the simple who love simplicity.
Yes, sir.
And then he says the second step is that you become a scorner.
Yes, sir.
So I want to talk about the insolence of the scorn.
Yes, sir.
Come on.
Now the word insolent or insolence means rude,
Yes, sir.
disrespectful,
Yeah.
arrogant,
Yeah.
proud,
Yeah.
rejecting authority.
Yeah. Go ahead, preacher.
Have I got a witness?
Go ahead.
If you allow a child to remain simple, the day will come that that child will become a rude, disrespectful, proud, arrogant scorner. They move from the level of being simple to the level of being a scorner. Now let me help you identify a scorner.
All right.
If you help me, I won't have to work harder. A scorner, well, when a scorner is in junior high or high school, we may call a scorner a smart aleck. Have you ever seen a smart aleck? Especially a young smart aleck. A scorner. When they grow up and go into business, then we might call them a cynic. When they get into university and think they have a little sense, then they become a martyr. Have I got a witness here? He says here, they delight in their scorn. Let me quickly share with you some characteristics of the scorner. First of all, the scorner, it says right here, delights in his scorn. Have you ever wondered why when a nice, clean singing group comes to town, the promoters can never even break even?
Yes, sir.
But then you let some degenerate devil worshiping rock band show up. They have to go to the Coliseum and won't have room enough for the crowd. Why is it like that? It's because the scorner delights in sneering at everything that is good and godly. The scorner gets some kind of gross, perverse self-satisfaction out of putting down God and the things of God and doing everything that is diametrically opposite to the will of God. He delights in his scorn. A scorner gets a kick out of doing what is wrong in order to agitate the righteous. Have I got a witness here? That's where the scorner gets his pleasure from. But not only does the scorner delight in his scorning, the scorner defies instruction. Look at 13:1. A wise son heareth his father's instruction, but a scorner heareth not rebuke. When you run into a scorner, even if the scorner is in your own house, you'll hear the scorner talking like this: "Get off my back."
Watch it.
Today ain't Sunday. You don't have to preach to me. Have you ever noticed how much a scorner knows?
Well, now.
And have you ever noticed how wise a scorner gets by 16 years of age? A scorner knows everything. You can always tell a scorner, but you can never tell a scorner very much. A scorner knows more than mama and daddy. A scorner knows more than the college professor. A scorner knows more than a high school instructor. A scorner knows more than the ignorant Baptist preacher down at the church. A scorner knows more than everybody in the world. And a scorner at 16 wants to take charge of his life without any instruction from anybody.
Yes, Lord, Lord. Stay with it. Stay with it. Stay with it.
But not only does a scorner delight in his scorning and defies instruction, the scorner despises the godly. 15 and 12. A scorner loveth not one that reproveth him, neither will he go unto the wise.
Yes, sir. Come on.
Very seldom can you help a scorner by sharing with that scorner the wisdom of God. That's why you got to get them when they're simple. Because if they get to the level of scornful, it is very little hope for the scornful. The scorner will rebuke you for trying to correct them. A scorner despises the godly. Preachers, you heard the scorner. The scorner comes and says, and you call yourself a preacher. You drive up into the gas station and you might have a scorner as an attendant. Well, what you want? Well, this is a gas station, isn't it? That's that's why I came in here, and that's why I pulled up to this pump. I want some gas.
Yeah.
Well, how much do you want? And you tell them that. Well, all right, let me see what I can do. Wait a minute, I'll be right back. And then they make you wait a while and then come back. And then I hand them my church card. Are you a preacher? Well, it says Reverend E.K. Bailey on there. Well, now, how did you get to be a preacher? You know, I don't have much patience for these church folk. I'm talking about the needling of a scarf. He wants to get under your skin. And sometimes when he catches me and I'm not filled. Sometimes I want to get out the car and take my godly fist and teach him some godly manners. And the only thing that holds me is that I can just see it on the Dallas Morning News. Pastor of the Concord Baptist Church whoops scorner. The scorner despises the godly. Look back at 9 and 7.
Wait with it. Yes. Working with it.
7 and 8. He that reproveth a scorner getteth to himself shame. And he that rebuketh a wicked man getteth himself a what? Plot. Verse 8. Reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I told you, you better get him while he's simple.
Yeah.
Rebuke a wise man, he will love you.
Yeah.
But you rebuke a scorner, and you got a fight on your hands.
Yeah.
Go ahead, stay with it.
I know you're right.
Stay with it.
Yes, sir.
And then lastly under this, look at 13 and 3.
All right.
Well.
All right. Work with it.
Rico.
Mercy.
My.
Good.
You must have read it. He that keepeth his mouth, keepeth his life. But he that openeth wide his lips shall have what? The destiny of a scorner is destruction. What happens to a child that won't listen? What happens to a smart aleck when he grows up? What happens to those who seek to destroy the godly and the good? You know what happens to them? They end up being destroyed.
Yeah.
Stay with it, preacher.
So the scorner delights in his scorning, defiles instruction, despises the godly, and his destination is destruction.
Yes, sir.
Let me now come on back to chapter 1 and verse 22.
All right.
Now we've looked at the simple,
Yes, sir.
That's up. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
and we've looked at the scorner.
Yes, sir. Come on.
Well,
Now let's take a look at the intransigence of the fool.
Yes, go ahead.
The ignorance of the simple,
Yes.
the insolence of the scorner,
Yes.
and now the intransigence of the fool.
Yes, sir.
Now the word intransigent means uncompromised.
Yes.
yeah.
It means irreconcilable.
Yeah.
Now come on and get the meaning here.
Come on, come on.
If you don't catch a child when he or she is simple,
Yes, sir.
they move to become a scorn.
Yeah.
Now there's hope for the simple,
Come on.
and there's a little shaft of light for the scorn.
All right.
Come on.
But there is no evidence
Come on.
in the whole of the Bible
Come on. Come on.
where a fool ever changed.
My Lord.
And the reason why fools cannot change is because a fool is irreconcilable.
Yeah.
A fool is uncompromised. A fool is an enemy of God.
Yeah.
That's what makes them a fool.
Yeah.
Because they're irreconcilable and uncompromised. Have I got a witness?
Stay with it.
Reverend.
Well, what does it say? And fools hate not.
Yeah.
Now again, don't misunderstand what he's saying here. He's not saying that fools are unintelligent.
Come on.
Well.
Some of the biggest fools in the world, they're smart.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got all kinds of degrees.
Yeah. Yeah.
When he says knowledge here, this word translated knowledge, is talking about that which is good and godly.
Yeah.
He's saying that God is the embodiment of knowledge.
Yeah.
And fools hate knowledge.
Yeah.
Thus, a fool has become the enemy of God.
Yes.
That's why there's no hope for the fool.
Yeah.
You remember back in the Old Testament where God told Israel to utterly destroy the Amalekites?
Yes, sir.
He said, kill them all, babies, children, livestock, slaughter, everything.
Yeah.
When our God is misused, a God of love, talking about wipe out a whole nation of people. And then the Bible goes on to tell us why God said wipe them out. It's because God had looked at their hearts.
Yeah.
And God had seen that they were beyond the point of repentance. Because the Bible says that the Amalekites were the enemies of God forever. And so God said, they are fools, wipe them out.
Yeah.
If you don't catch a child before he gets to this third level,
All of
it's all over but the child.
well.
That's why in the Old Testament, when they found a rebellious child, they stoned him.
Right, sir.
They did away with him. Because once you reach the level of a fool, there's no way back.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah.
Now let me share one or two things with you about this and briefly talk to you about how not to raise one and be through for today.
Come on. Come on. Come on.
Look at verse 7 in chapter 1.
All right.
All right.
Lord.
My.
The fool
All right.
hates and rejects the wisdom of God.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. All right.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. But fools what? Despise wisdom and instruction.
Yeah.
You find the person who rejects the word, will, and wisdom of God, guess what you got? Fools reject and hate the wisdom of God.
Yeah. All right.
Go ahead.
Look at 14 and 9.
All right.
I told you don't get weary now.
All right.
Not only do fools hate knowledge, but the fool ridicules righteousness.
All right.
Yeah.
Fools make a mock at sin.
All right.
My Lord.
All right.
Yeah.
The fool revels in his sinfulness.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The fool brags about how sinful he or she is.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
My.
And I want to tell you, it's very dangerous these days.
Yeah.
Watching, I want to call it the idiot box, but some of y'all watch a lot of it. I believe that Satan is really using the modern television
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt.
to do a lot of things.
Yes, sir.
But one of the things that Satan uses the modern television for, Satan uses television to cause us to laugh at sin.
Yeah. Right, sir.
Now he's crafty.
Yes, sir.
Satan knows if he can get you to laugh at sin, you will never take sin seriously.
Yeah.
Every day he'll put on show to get us to laugh at homosexuality.
Yeah.
Get us to laugh at lesbianism. Get us to laugh at abortion. Get us to laugh at infidelity. Get us to laugh at child abuse. Get us to laugh at incest. Have we got a witness here? And if he can get you to start laughing at sin, you will never take it seriously.
Well, I know you're right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the fool makes mockery of righteousness.
My Lord.
Hold me up, Holy Ghost.
My.
Just a little while.
Yes, sir. Lord.
Well,
And then look at 15, 20, and 21.
well, now.
Yeah. Man.
Well,
A fool not only makes mockery of righteousness, but a fool rejoices in his sin.
come on.
All right.
A wise son maketh a glad father, but a foolish man despises his mother.
All right.
Folly is joy to him.
My Lord.
Do you see that? A fool rejoices in his sin.
My. Yes.
We got a whole lot of folk rejoicing in their sin and unrighteousness.
My.
Well, now I think I've made my case for that.
Come on.
Well, now that you see that people come into this world simple,
Come on.
if they're not instructed, they become scorners.
Yeah.
And if they're not helped at that level, they become fools.
My.
Well, now, parents, how can we, and grandparents,
Come on.
you know, it's very important to have grandparents.
Yes, sir.
And one of the reasons I've discovered is by the time you grow up and get some sense about how to raise your children, they're grown and gone.
Amen.
So while you are raising your children, you need the wisdom of somebody who's already passed that way to help you in raising your children.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a biological grandmama or granddaddy, you ought to adopt one somewhere.
That's good, brother. I know that's right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right, Billy.
Yes. How not?
Now, how do we intervene so that we can contravene any habit and attitude that our children may have that will cause them to end up being a fool?
Yes, sir. Come on, preacher. Come on.
Well, you got to stay in the book.
Come on.
Look at verse 4 in chapter 1.
Well.
Come on.
You see that word subtlety?
All right.
Out of the Hebrew, that word means savvy,
All right.
wisdom, and discernment. So what he's saying is, when your children are yet young, teach them savvy about life.
Yeah.
Help them learn the art of discernment.
Yeah.
Give them wisdom about life, people, and living.
Yeah.
Have we got a witness?
Oh, yeah.
One of the great tragedies in life, how parents help their children to be fools.
Come on.
Come on. Most of us wait, and we are 200 pounds and 16 years too late.
Come on.
Yes, sir.
You cannot wait until a child is 14 or 16 to start trying to teach that child the will, the word, and the way of the Lord. If you wait till they're 16, then you've already lost the battle. They must have savvy and discernment early in life. That's why the Catholic Church says, give us your child between 1 and 6, and they'll never change or turn around.
Right.
Because they know the importance of getting started early.
I know.
Do you know that the two people a child really desires to please when they're young?
Come on.
It's not the school teacher. The two people a child really wants to please, mama and daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have I got a witness?
All right.
Now what do you say? How not to raise a fool, point one.
Come on.
Children can be taught. I told you this word simple means an open mind. Just like a child is open to the world, a child is also open to the word. But if you let the world do all of the teaching, then the simple will become a scorner. But while a child's mind is a wide open gate, place in that child's mind the word of God. You cannot afford to let the school do your teaching part. I know it's going to get quiet in here right long from here. Father? Father. They say in the country, oh, Father.
Come on.
We ought not relegate the teaching of our children to mothers. We ought not give the responsibility of raising the children solely to the women. All through this book, it says, hear the instruction of the Father. And so many fathers are so busy trying to make a living, they don't have time to teach their children how to live. I had a seminary professor. I know I'm taking up a lot of time, but I did get started late, so, and that wasn't my fault.
Go ahead, preacher. Go ahead.
I had a seminary professor. He had a PhD, doctorate of philosophy. He also had a THD, a doctorate of theology. And one day when we got talking about the family in class, tears rolled down his cheeks, and tied under his chin. And he told the class, men, whatever you do, don't lose your family. And don't lose your children. He said, I already had a PhD when my children came along. But I just had to have this other degree, the THD. And while my children were at home growing up, I was away in school getting another PhD. He said, but now my children won't walk across the street to hear me preach. Because when they needed me, I was too busy. But now I need them and they are too busy. He said, don't lose your children. Have I got a witness? I'll be there in a minute.
All right. You there. Go ahead. You on it right now. Stay there.
Children must be taught. And in order to teach them, we must spend time. Do you know? And now listen, I'm so glad God did not say to us, teach your children, and then go off and not tell us how to do it.
Right, sir.
Well, preacher, what do I teach my child? The book of Proverbs is God's manual on child rearing.
Right.
You don't have to go off and buy a whole lot of other books unless that's what you want to. It's all right to read Paul Meyer. It's all right to read Thompson. It's all right to read those scholars. But get off in the Proverbs. God has given us Proverbs to tell us how to raise our children. Proverbs 22:6 says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he get old, he will not depart from it. Stick with me now, I'm almost through.
Come on.
So children must be taught. But then the second way on how not to raise a fool, children must have an example.
Come on. You're on it, Billy. Oh, no.
My.
Yes, sir.
Don't walk out now. Ain't here with me.
Yes, sir.
Oh, stay with me.
All right. Yes, sir.
Now the example is twofold.
Come on.
First of all, we ought to show a child the consequences of sin.
Come on. Right. Come on.
Show them an example.
Yes, sir. Come on.
And then, you see, whenever a teenager is killed
Come on.
from drunk driving,
Yes, sir.
if your child is left to his or her simple self,
Come on.
Well,
they won't think much about it.
Come on. Come on.
So it's up to the parent
Go ahead.
to make that child sit down and show that child how life jives with the Word of God.
Yeah.
Show them how the drunk driving
Yeah.
was a mistake and a sin. And then take the Word and show them how the wages of sin is death.
Yeah.
Your child is too simple to put it together for himself. You've got to show him an example.
Yeah. Yes.
And let him know if you keep going down the path you're on, you're going to end up in the same place.
Yeah.
Drive down Skid Row with your child. And let them see how men and women, because of certain circumstances, have ended up in their own vomit. Have ended up on the corner without a place to sleep or anything to eat. Give them an example. Make them sit down and read the newspaper of what happens when you get on trouble. Give them an example. Much as problems we having in drugs with America.
Yeah, yeah.
We ought to spend a lot of time giving our children exams.
You're right, sir.
And stop excusing ourselves from doing this work. Then finally, well, look at that verse, 19 and 25.
Come on.
He says, smite a scorner,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
and the simple will behave.
This is.
All right. All right.
That shows the simple an example.
Yes. Yes.
One lady went to school one day and she said, listen, my son, Johnny, is very nervous,
Come on.
but he's a quick learner.
All right.
If Johnny misbehaves, slap the little boy next to him and he'll straighten up. I don't know if you ought to try that, but there is some truth in it. You see, when the simple sees the scorner punished, then the simple gets the message.
That's it.
One other on this, 21 and 11, and I'll be through with it.
Come on. Come on.
Go ahead and take your time.
Come on.
21 and 11, just to your right. When the scorner is punished, the simple is made what?
My.
Yes, sir.
But now the other side of the example is you.
Come on.
You show them an external example, but you are also an example. Listen,
Come on, preacher.
Yes, sir.
the old folks used to have a saying that's so true. Fruit never falls far from the tree.
All right, sir. My.
I didn't understand it when I was coming along in this city.
Come on. Come on.
But it's very important for parents to learn
Yes, sir.
that you are your child's number one example.
Come on, preacher.
Because guess what? It's mighty painful when you see your shortcomings being duplicated in your child. Especially when you discover that they don't have the maturity that you have to handle the weaknesses. And you see yourself in your child in the wrong.
Go ahead, preacher. Yes.
Listen, it's not enough to bring your child to church. You see, the Bible says, train up a child. When you bring a child to church, you are simply exposing the child. Now, the child needs godly exposure, but most of all, they need home training. And you can't train without the word.
You're on it, brother baby. You're on it. Let the Lord use you.
Have I got a witness?
Yes, sir.
Then finally,
Yes, sir.
come to 13 and 20.
13.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Children must be taught. They need an example. And the final thing, guard the company of your children.
Come on.
My Lord. Hold on, old son.
Get involved and help your children learn how to select friends.
Yes, sir.
Look what verse 20 says in chapter 13.
Yes, sir.
He that walketh with wise men shall what? But a companion of what? Shall what? If you walk with wise men, you'll be wise. But if you run with fools, you'll be a fool. Now listen, parents. Sometimes your children will get mad with you. But that's all right. Sometimes they'll ask you, why you got to know where I'm going?
Yeah.
Because I'm responsible for you.
Yeah.
Why you got to know who my friends are?
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to be a fool. I've got to know who your friends are. Because if you walk with fools, you'll be a fool.
Yes, sir.
So let them get mad, but you get involved. And do you know we got a whole lot of parents who care more about their furniture than they care about the children that their children run around with?
Yeah.
We got parents that don't want to invite the friends of their children over because they're scared that they'll get some dirt on their carpet and on their furniture. But it doesn't matter. You ought to invite them over anyway. Because the soul of your child is more important than some dirt on the carpet. Invite your children's friends to the house. Make them some lemonade. Get them some sandwiches. And then check them out while they drink and eat. While they drinking lemonade, listen to the conversation. While they eating tuna fish, hear if there's a scholar in the group. Because if there's a scholar in the group, it won't be long before he'll be a fool.
Oh, you preaching here.
God, the children's company. Can you name your child's best friend? I said the women can, but the men cannot. You need to know who your child is running with. You need to know the background. Who's his mama? Who's the daddy? Because fruit don't fall far from the tree.
All right, Pastor.
Yes, sir.
All right. Stay with it, Bailey. Stay with it. We got time.
Now this is my last scripture.
We
for
got
today.
time.
I know I have scripturized you today.
That's good. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes, sir. God bless.
Now that's just the way I do at home, so y'all can.
That's good.
Come on.
22 and 10.
All right, we go with you. 22 and 10.
Now this still has to do with God, your children's company.
Yes. All right.
This is what he said. Cast out the scorn. And contention shall go out.
Yeah.
Yea, strife and reproach shall cease.
You're right.
The Bible said if you catch your child running with a scorner, cast the scorner out.
Yes, sir.
Oh, brother preacher, I can't do that. He's a nice little boy. Children don't usually pick up bad habits from themselves. Children pick up bad habits from parents and peers. And if the simple is running with a scorner and you don't cast the rascal out, then when they end up in jail, guess who's partly at fault?
Yes, sir.
Dobson has a new book out, and it says that parenting is not for cowards.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
So if you got a weak stomach, you better not have no children.
That's right.
Because you're going to have to take some unpopular positions sometime. Cast the scorner out. There's a time that a child, because of behavior, ought to be put out of school. There's a time that a rascal in the church ought to be put out of the church. If they are an unrepentant troublemaker, put them out. Cast the scorner out. That's not my opinion, that's the book. If you don't, you'll raise a fool.
My Lord.
An unknown sage said there are 4 categories of men.
All right.
He who knows
Come on.
And cares not, he who knows not,
Yes.
and cares not that he knows not, is a fool. Avoid him.
Come on, come on, come on.
He who knows not and knows not that he knows not is simple. Teach him. He who knows but has forgotten that he knows is asleep. Wake him up. He who knows and knows that he knows and is able to handle his knowledge with godly humility for the glory of God, he is wise. Follow him. For what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and lose his children? Don't raise a fool.